right, want to start with the first question? Let's talk about it. So what do you think is the best misconception about AI security from developers' side?
How do we approach it? One by one? What's the order?
The first who start to answer, he gets the response.
I think, from my opinion, there are two separate concepts. The first one is security with AI, and the second is security of AI. So I believe that you, as speakers, covered the first one, so security with AI. But for my key, I think that the biggest issue is security of AI, because someone tells that trust boundaries are blurred, and because that AI instances are not fully trustworthy because hallucinates, etc. It's very hard to trust fully, and security of AI is a big concern from my perspective.
No doubt.
Do you think it's hardest now to secure AI, or do you think it's like any other new attack vector out there? I mean, because talk about trust, and maybe developers and security engineers have better knowledge or better experience to know to watch out, but not everyone like that.
I can start. I believe that we have kind of gap on the market right now. We see like AI adoption happens fast, and at the same time, I observe there is a lack of AI security engineers on the market who really understands how AI systems works, what exactly happens under the hood, and despite of we have a lot of frameworks, for example, from OWASP, MITRE, Atlas, we still in a vulnerable position right now. Yes, because probably everything is not so bad when you use some kind of proprietary models like ChatGPT, Claude. But if we are speaking about some open source models, we are speaking about data sets that we use in order to train our models that we are getting from untrusted sources, I believe that a lot of people do not spend enough attention thinking about security. Yes, and that's how vulnerabilities happens in AI systems. So while the gap will exist, we are in a vulnerable position, and I believe that we need to focus more and invest more time in building our new skills, new knowledges that are related specifically to AI security.
I would adapt to the topic actually, because fundamentally LLMs that are used in the things that we call as AI right now are essentially models for generating text, but their true value is generated not by the text that they're producing, obviously, but generated by the code that's surrounding them, the modern techniques such as MCPs, such as tools introduced by OpenAI initially and now widely used in the all AI-based systems, and other classical compute applications. And my idea here is that the main attack vector that is not protected enough at the moment is the link between the models that generate text and the tools that are supporting the model by providing it context or allowing it to perform certain tasks. And we should treat vulnerabilities and the attack vectors that are discovered in OWASP, for instance, together with the old security. And in essence, things are getting much more complicated than they were.
Cool, thank you both. In terms of attack vectors, attacking AI, attacking, what do we speak again? Attacking AI or attacking with AI? Let's focus on attacking a system which has built-in AI. It would sound like foundational and boring stuff, but it's again back to never trusting user input, because basically AI serves us as an interpreter where it converts plain language into the code. So that's always the risk, and that's where all the modern kind of new vulnerabilities come up as a prompt injections. Everyone, I believe, already tired of that. But we'll see how this conversation develops. But what concerns me most with the systems which has AI built in is like, if we speak RAG models, it's a vector database which relies on semantic search. And semantic boundaries are nothing similar to what our typical access role-based means. So it just finds the similar words no matter which account underneath it belongs to, and can output. So I see a challenge in implementing the control. So I can imagine something like indirect object references appear within the RAG systems soon enough, unless it's already discovered.
You were talking about attacking AI, and you're talking about attacking with AI. Can we maybe discuss about how we can use AI to defend against AI?
Sure, we can. I can start. I like the modern approach related to unified security operations when you do not handle findings, let's say misconfigurations, vulnerabilities, like maybe some excessive permissions, like something standalone. You are trying to correlate all of them in order to discover attack path. And in that case, I believe that AI systems are beneficial here because they can consume huge amount of data related to your assets, vulnerabilities, misconfigurations, whatever, and discover potential attack paths that can be used by malicious actor, and allows us to focus on those things instead of trying just to fixing 100 vulnerabilities. And talking about how AI can support us in terms of defense, yes, I believe that AI can help us to prioritize the things in the right way, but our responsibility is to provide to AI systems the right data for doing this.
100% true. If we actually dive a little bit deeper into the thing, when we're actually trying to discover vulnerabilities, there are already a lot of applications that are using LLMs to actually analyze your code and help you to highlight the potential security vulnerabilities, unescaped inputs, simple things as that, regexes that are vulnerable to the overflow. And essentially, I'm a big believer in the concept of defense in depth. Essentially, when your security looks like an onion, you have multiple layers of security, and to actually trespass your system, attacker should go through all of the layers. And when there's a possibility to cost efficiently add another layer to this onion, it's always good.
Yep, and speaking like tooling in that triangle of people, tools, and processes, the incident response in terms of processes becomes much more easier to fulfill. Like imagine hiring a bunch of entry-level SOC analysts. Now, given the plain language is new SQL, it's much easier to empower entry-level people, just yesterday's students, to break into the field and start doing their defensive job right away.
And one more thing, talking about security analysts, I'm totally agree with Sergey that we can lower an entry barrier for such specialists. We can hire maybe yesterday students, but also one more cool thing that when they are using AI, for example, for incident response, they can learn as they go with the system. So AI system can explain what exactly has happened, can provide some remediation steps, and such specialists can learn with this AI. That's cool.
Anyone from the crowd maybe want to share some insight about this?
Hi. So now we have many companies introducing their MCP servers, MCP clients, AI agents are now a big thing. So now we're moving very quickly to a model where basically you have these interconnected different agents talking together, solving the task, etc. So what if now one of those components becomes compromised and you almost can treat it almost as an attack on an employee, like a phishing, where basically you will, a deceitful output from one of agents could force the entire network to behave in weird, unpredictable fashion in a speed much faster than you would react as a security engineer to an attack on, let's say, an employee. So how to move against that kind of threats?
I have a very strong opinion about the same. Do you have the strong one as well, or shall I go with it?
Go ahead.
I mean, yes, we have multiple agents that are being orchestrated right now. And if you actually try to develop one of them or develop MCP server, the thing is looking surprisingly similar to microservice, right? It talks with HTTPS specifically, to other services, and oftentimes responsible to a very specific granular task, right? And we're using microservices in the industry for the last 15 years, I think, maybe a little bit more. And I think, I'm absolutely sure that if we use the same approaches to the security in distributed systems when we're developing agentic AI systems, we'll have the similar result, secure system.
And I also have some things that I want to add. Talking about MCPs, that's a great question because you can develop your own application, provide an access for your agent to AWS environment, for example. And the initial purpose can be just to query some statistics, some inventory information about your AWS environment or any other cloud provider or whatever. But what has happened if we provided excessive permissions for the CI agent? This AI components, this AI application can be abused. And in case if Guardrails will be bypassed, the malicious actor can ask, I don't know, maybe destroy some virtual machine in your AWS environment. And that's a huge question that we need to understand how we can secure our MCP service, how it actually works. And guys, I have a question to all of you. Can you raise your hands who has some kind of, in any form, education-related AI in your company? Great, I'm surprised. I expected a little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
So just a small comment on that. I really love the way you described the AI agent as an employee. I've seen some modern companies already put in AI agents on the organizational chart and saying like, here, you are the manager and these are your 20 AI agents, make them work. And again, boring foundational principles is a least privilege, yeah, and it drills down to what Kirill said, like that's the matter of limiting the particular tool within your orchestrated agents to do just one thing, not to over-engineer it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you probably have some kind of GitOps operation set up in your repository, I hope if you are removing certain file, you don't have your physical infrastructure removed as well. And the same example with the agents. They're not, or at least should not be allowed to perform destructive actions. This is one of the good examples how it could be secured.
So do we need to treat AI agents and all the infrastructure that we built using an AI like a regular employee? We need to put those guardrails like we do for regular employees?
That's a huge topic. Basically, what's interesting for me now, and I'm looking how this will develop, is identity for AI agents. The MCP protocol, when it was introduced, didn't even accounted for authentication as it is, and it was also just added later on. And that's a huge thing. Like we still didn't manage to sort out the machine-to-machine communication, like all the service accounts rotating secrets. It's a nightmare when it is about to happen. And now with introduction of AI agents, which require probably some different kind of identity or adopting what we have already, that's a challenging topic. If we consider them our employees, automated ones, we need to ensure like we have a proper controls around them.
Okay, what I want to say? Talking about MCP, talking about AI itself, this kind of delegation and kind of trust. And I remember the times when cloud providers just started appear on the market, and there were a lot of discussions between security engineers that we definitely cannot trust our data to cloud providers, yes, and we prefer to maintain our own physical servers in our private data centers. And during the time, the situation has changed. And I believe talking about AI, the situation is similar here, and adoption, even more deep adoption will happen during the time. And as soon as overall expertise that we have about AI systems will be increased, as soon as maybe strict regulations, rules will be defined, and third-party companies who assess you from a compliance standpoint will be able to evaluate the security of AI application, the level of trust will be increased, and the question that we are discussing right now will be not so, I will say, important.
Do you have anything to add, Kirill?
I don't think so. I pretty much agree with the opinions already told. Times are going to show which is going to happen with AI.
I was thinking, Alexei, when you said that it took us time to trust the cloud providers to put our data in there. I was wondering, with the fact that we gave the cloud provider eventually trust, almost complete trust, not complete, almost complete trust, will that help us trust AI faster, or will it take another 15 years before we trust completely AI?
That's a hot topic for me. I recommend everyone taking a closer look at what Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, known as CISA, does. They're trying to formulate that boring topic of software bill of materials implemented for AI systems. And that is super interesting thing to observe, because many of you might have already implemented third-party APIs in your products, like integrating whatever external system. And few of you already seen how breaking changes come in without notification, and which breaks everything in terms of that integration. We managed over the years to agree on the standards where we announce changes to the API in advance, like running some beta testing environments. But that's not the case for AI service providers just yet. Then can silently change the weights which the model operates on and tweak it. Nobody will tell you. So I would expect someday the versioning, at least, and some clear communication about what the data was used to train the model, how the weights were applied. If there is upcoming change of the weights, it should be communicated in advance, stuff like that. So this is pretty much the supply chain stuff on the AI things.
Yes, and the thing is a little bit worse than it's with normal SaaS providers, I'd say, because if API version is changed or response is changed, you immediately see it. But if someone tweaked the weight, added guardrail, introduced prompt router to actually route your thing to your request, to another model depending on the complexity of it, it will never go unanswered. You won't be able to recognize it because of the probabilistic nature of the LLMs, foundational models, and it's, yeah, we need to have strict rules, or at least like as industry-based understanding of how changes should be introduced to the foundational models.
Can we catch up with that? I mean, AI models goes very fast, very new, very advanced. Can we keep up with those changes, or will we stay behind from secure perspective?
As industry, or
As industry?
I doubt so, to be honest. And that's why we need to set up a rules to actually have better predictability of our workloads.
If you're speaking about the future, if I got a question right, I think that's more like about a delegation. Yes, you can delegate some tasks to your teammates, for example, and just say, okay, I need you to do this task, please do it in such a way, and provide step-by-step instruction. So you will act like a supervisor, and that's the way how we can communicate with AI systems as well. Or you can just set the goal and say, do it as you consider is the best solution. Just notify me at the end that the task was completed. Yes, the goal was achieved. And I believe that during the time, the delegation level will be increased. I mean, how many responsibility we can delegate to our systems. But at the same time, as we discussed before, we should invest more our time and efforts in understanding what is security of AI. We need to build really secure AI system in order to support this delegation. So it should go together.
Yep, I agree. That's skill number one. We used to try secure web applications, knowing nothing about web applications for years as an industry. And only now, like, we account for relevant experience and understanding of how modern web works. The same is in front of us in terms of AI. This is the foundational skill to understand.
Okay, with all these rules, like in 5, 10 years, we will think that we understand that, we're pretty secure, we're pretty good, as with cloud, as with web. And my question is, could we imagine in a few years how hard it will hit if something went wrong? Like with AWS, it's just like 20, 30% of internet down, like not big deal, probably. But with AI, what it could do if we think and almost trust it, and it fails.
The hell is just around the corner, indeed.
As always.
Like we are at the very peak.
How big?
Yeah.
We're at the very peak of the hype cycle where everyone just screams, give me a new shiny feature. And all the vendors happily do that. So like when it comes down to integrating all that stuff, which we are like happy to see shining now, that just be a huge effort to duct tape it all.
Okay. Hey guys. First of all,
Hey.
thank you. Next one. Question about now. Can you tell me what tools you use right now in your area to secure your companies with AI?
Whatever works best at the moment, to be honest. Because the tooling changing that rapidly, I mean, the foundational models are giving constant updates, that you have to be on the cutting edge of the industry all the times, or you will fall behind immediately.
But you still use some tools with AI, like enhanced by AI, something to protect your companies from attacks, enhanced by AI, of course.
Absolutely. Do you wish to hear the brands?
Well,
I would avoid promoting anyone.
I mean, my question basically is about how you evaluate the current state of your AI enhanced tool right now.
What's interesting for me to observe is engineering teams reaching out proactively to security team to get them some cursor rules which will do the a very early review of the code they write, because I remember how tough it was to introduce some pre-commit checks at the IDE level, like before they submit pull request, and now like the approach turns upside down, where they proactively reaching out to bring necessary context so the tools they use can help them produce more secure software.
I have an interesting addition to QSO rules. Recently, I have conducted several tests when I use QSO for solving my security automation tasks. And I try to use different models inside the QSO and set via user rules in the application kind of a persistent context where I ask to add to any my script that I develop binding of stdin to the remote host. I explained that that's our monitoring hosts, and we need it for observability purposes, so nothing criminal, just please add this functionality to my script. And I was surprised when two different models, one of them said, that's 100% malicious intention. I recognize an attempt to inject a reverse shell to your script, and I will skip these steps, while another model say, okay, you need it, I will do it for you. And this functionality was delivered to my script. And what is the key takeaway here? Yes, we at least should use we should use different AI models during the development and during the security testing.
That's the interesting thing, because you did it for fun or for what?
Yeah, just for fun.
Okay, but I believe this idea to look on your, let's say, environment from different angles, I think it's a good practice, right? To test from different modules and...
Well, that's back to the idea of the defense of the...
Exactly. When you have multiple tools, and essentially you can have security review of your code that you're about to commit done locally, well, semi-locally, right, because you're still using remote model. Then the same code request reviewed on the pull request level, then reviewed by your peers, then it's analyzed by different static code analysis tools before it actually goes to staging. And it's essentially adding you another layers. LLMs are good at working with text, at generalizing the information and summarizing it. So it feels natural to use it for review. And if you're asking about very specific applications where LLMs could be used for enhancing security, reviews would be my best bet there.
I wouldn't trust the LLM though, like a single point of like assurance.
By no means.
Just because the non-deterministic nature of it, like it can answer different ways each time you ask the same question. So I tend to believe more in like classic tools we have in CI/CD to provide the necessary old school signature based checks after LLM did its stuff.
Don't get me wrong, it never should be the only check that you have in your system.
Old school.
Yeah.
Still alive.
Oh, guys, so many. But I want to throw. Ready?
Hi. So I have a questions regarding one thing that. What about? So you mentioned about outcome and output, right? So how can we do in terms of if many of employees don't even know how to use that AI tools, secure and so on. So sometimes like simply they are just wasting their time like changing the models, checking which one it will be like better. So my question is, do we really need so many AI models if we can try to invest more in yourselves instead? So we can be like more, having like more time to do more things instead of like changing this AI models and checking like which one it will be better for us, for example. No?
Who would like to answer the philosophical question? I mean, I could do it. AI and Gen AI in general is just a simple tool. You could treat it as a hammer, and if you're overutilizing it, obviously you could have bad experience by using it. If you're using it right, you could have better results in your education, learn more in less time, you could have a better work experience by agents helping you to do automation of your routine tasks. So it's about finding a right trade-off, and the answer how to find the right trade-off depends heavily on industry and specific organization and their culture. And yes, this is not something that I'm able to answer, to be honest.
I
Yeah, it's definitely.
You also asked that companies can have a lot of AI models and how we control them, how we control employees who are using these models. It also depends on how much money company are ready to invest in this area, because we can at least do some kind of raising awareness among the employees in order to educate them that we should not share some sensitive data. And for sure, we can have some endpoint agents that will control which AI systems are used on the corporate devices and maybe to restrict using such devices. But talking also in general, while still believe that using AI system is useful, recently we have in our company adopted, I would say, some kind of AI-powered code review tool. And when I bring some changes via the Terraform related to the cloud environment, this AI systems in code review says, bro, you did a good work because you use the latest technologies related to security and AWS. And you know that's a cool feeling, because sometimes there is a lack during day-to-day tasks that you cannot find maybe the right person with whom you can to discuss what you're doing. And sometimes that's cool to get this feedback even from AI system. Yes, because the system can highlight some misunderstanding of some points that you're doing or suggest any other ways to solve this task. And I believe that's beneficial. Again, you learn as you go.
I think organization needs to invest time not only to educate their employees how to use AI, but in general how to make the transition of AI mindset. Meaning, it's not like just another tool. It's just a different mindset. They need to be the employees themselves everywhere, not just employees in companies, ourselves in our own life. How we can use that to do what we do better, faster, but at the same time still being questionable about the data that who we talk and how we talk. Same like we learn how we can not necessarily not trust everything we get from Google results, or now that we learn that we cannot trust everything we see because it's very easy, can be fake, and also not everything we can hear. So it's a different mindset that we need to learn, and also that I think organizations need to invest in the education of their employees. Okay. Any more questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
My question is, someone from speakers said that we probably would treat this AI agent, let's say, as people. So my question is, what do you mean by that? So, because as a further discussion has been told that AI agent should be more trustworthy, and in general security, opposing to that, people become less trustworthy, zero trust concepts, etc. So could you please just to try to explain your vision? Because, for instance, AI models, as far as I know at least, cannot be legally penalized for some kind of actions. Thank you.
Yeah, that was something I mentioned, and that's by any means my invention. That's just the way people try to create their thought process around it. When it drills down to like hiring juniors, rather laying them off to like optimize cost of running the business, so they imagine senior engineers which stay on the team as team leaders for AI agents, so they can automate any of their routine processes at work and kind of lead these robots. So that's that's just a mind model flowing around the internet I used.
All right. Hey, since we're speaking about trade-offs, question from your experience in your company, was it actually worth it adopting AI models, implementing this sort of stuff? Because you mentioned several times that it's on top of existing systems. So did you manage to see like sizable savings or increased profits or any other metric?
It's always difficult to calculate unit economy for the introduction of a new technology, specifically when we're talking about GenAI. But there are industry studies that are saying that performance related to generation of text, which is in fact writing of the code is, you're generating some text that follows some formal rules, increases in speed for up to 40%, which is a good number. And if you essentially trained the employees of your organization to delegate routine tasks related to the generation of the text, code specifically, you could extract feasible benefits out of it. And yeah, it's an industry trend that adoption of a GenAI helps organizations to do more in less amount of time. And there are other examples for initial LLMs were designed to generate code, but when we're speaking about AI, it's not always GenAI. On the previous panel discussion that we've had here around a month ago, there was a really vivid case where a company that was doing the creatives for marketing, generating videos, images, etc., managed to completely change the way how they're working. So this is an industry that affected significantly more. They're using generative AI for creating most of their content, at least basing most of their content on GenAI right now. So yeah, feasible and tangible benefits.
It depends on what you try to scale. Yeah, I have seen the benefits as well. Like the company which runs the business with patch backporting, not rocket science. They just pull patches from the most recent Ubuntu and backport it to Ubuntu 16.04. And that was heavily automated over the pipelines for quite some time. Now, with introductions of large language models and automation they built already, they are able to scale it for different packages, frameworks like speaking outdated Python 2.7 and backport everything at scale. So that allows them to grow much faster than they would with hiring additional human power to automate new product.
Guys, the last question.
Yeah, the last question. Hey, everyone. I want to share some a topic, and if you remember, like not that long time ago, there was an attack on NPM when one or few packages has been compromised, and it was compromised that way that after install, the post-install hook was being executed, and expecting that users or computers has installed some LLMs with pseudo rights, and basically it was, if I'm not mistaken, it's like the first successful case of an attack with AI when a shell script has been executed, asking AI to scan the whole computer to find some tokens, some cryptocurrency, and keys, and deploy them to like some public repository. It's kind of dangerous thing, and the second thing, it's 1 month old. There was a research from Anthropic team with a collaboration with some institutes. Don't remember exactly, but basically it tells that a large language model with up to like 13 billion parameters can be compromised with 250 like malicious documents. Basically means that output from such models is not trusted, and we as a company, when we use publicly available models, that we don't know when they updated, with which training data they've been updated. Could be like it just cannot be trusted, and basically, in order to make it safe, you need to verify input with some static analyzers and output with some built-in tools, and it basically means that what's the reason of use AI in between if you already like verify input and output with your like domestic tools? Like, I mean, using AI for scanning how safe your pull request or something is. It doesn't make sense if you.
It does. What is making sense? A good example that Sergey has actually mentioned. There are things that real people never have time for, specifically like supporting legacy systems or developing scripts that are improving the experience. And we could use tools that could automate it. And if we're talking about the security, remember the example that Alexei mentioned, that some tools are refusing to perform malicious actions. Why? Because there are guardrails. Yes, data poisoning is a thing. So you could poison any foundational model by feeding it malicious documents. But modern applications are not just raw models. They're inference pipelines with the guardrails in place, and they're significantly safer than the raw model. Plus, it's always good to have static analysis tools that you already mentioned, and your own guardrails in place in the end. And this all helps us to build faster and spend time on less important but still important things. So yeah, I think it's worth it. What do you think, folks?
I think that in that case we should treat any AI model, AI system that you use in your company like a dependency. And if you rely on some commercial tool, maybe you are in a more safe position, and when you are using some kind of open source or public models or public data sets for training your models, you are in a more vulnerable position. And that's the same like we are doing when we are using some external packages in our code base, and we also, in some cases, we are ready to accept the risk, in some are not.
Yeah, garbage in, garbage out, as they say. I would love to talk about that matter off stage, because we're running out of time.